We're going to play a clip now from a gentleman called James, who is a real victim of cuckooing, and very typical, I think, his story of the kind of work that Declan, you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis.
Because of my bereavement for my mum, I was taken advantage of and was feeding me free drugs. Because I was so wasted on what they were giving me. I didn't even see the change happening until it was too late, when people started moving in. And then when the prostitution started, that is when the prostitution started, that is when I got locked in my room 24/7. It was horrible, basically. I wasn't allowed out. I had to do my business in my room. I was frightened to death to even move. I was scared of what would happen to me. And when the police officer knocked that door, and they took us both apart, and I said to the officer, word for word, I said to him, "You've made my life, you have." That officer saved my life, basically.
Declan, that's it's pretty harrowing stuff, and it describes pretty clearly the sort of taking over of a life. It's kidnap, in a form, isn't it? Tell us a little bit more about James and about those circumstances.
What James is talking about there is just sort of replicated across the country far and wide. I've had a number of clients who have suffered from this type of offence, and it's very, very similar in that, that people coming into the address when people are vulnerable at a bit of a low point, whether that's through a bereavement like James, or whether that's through alcohol or drug misuse. There's a number of different factors. It's just generally, if somebody's vulnerable, these criminals will eke out an opportunity to get in there and further their own needs, basically their own criminality. So I get exactly what James is saying there. And just as an example of a client that I had on my books last year, exactly the same thing happened. People came to the door. She was a drug user, so the hook for her was to give her some cut price drugs, some free drugs, and sort of get the foot in the door that way, if you like. From there, it moved on whereby they would just turn up whenever they liked, banging on the door, gain entry, and visibly, openly show this lady that they had knives, they had meat cleavers, and basically would just take over the whole flat. They would be there for 8 or 9 hours. Each time they went, they would be there for a long, long time, and they'd sort of reduced her to going into her own bedroom, and they took over the rest of the flat. So very similar circumstances, and it seems to be that is what happens in up and down the country in different places.